YouTube subscribers, Ringer, the Bellers, our supporters of the Buffalo Naval Park. And for this video, I have to give a little introduction. Alright, it was about 85 degrees that day, and we're outside for about 3 or 4 hours in the sun. And actually, our certified diver is underwater looking at USS Croaker, our submarine, and also USS the Sullivans. So I'm going to give you a little background here and also correct some mistakes, because apparently I couldn't even tell my left from my right. So I'm going to correct some mistakes here as well. So for the first part of this video that you'll see, we have our diver, John Branning, in the water. And for the 6A main ballast tank, I call it 6B in the video. That's the port one, but we're in 6A, which is the starboard. That's the one with thousands of gallons of water in it. We were planning on pumping it out and getting a temporary patch. So you'll see him going along the hull with a little GoPro on his head. And he comes up and he has some bad news for us, actually. So we have to rethink how we're going to attack the problems that we have on Croaker. Then what you'll see is he's going to be working on the Sullivans. Now, from a video a couple of weeks ago, we did an anchor windlass video. If you watched that, you saw me try to put the JB weld in there. And because we were so low right by the keel, the water pressure just blew the JB weld right off. And now he's going to temporarily patch it with some old banner that we've had on board from 1989. So it's a plastic banner that I've cut out some pieces, and he has a couple large magnets, and you'll see him put a magnet or two there with the canvas, and at least that staunches the hole for a while so we can turn the pump off. And the good news is, in about 5 days, we've raised enough money to where they can start the work on the Sullivans with that 2-part epoxy paint below the water line. And so that work is going to start in about 5 days. So we thank you for the support. We've raised about $570,000 out of our $1 million goal, but that allows us to get that work started and hopefully have a good portion of the Sullivans hole done by winter time. All right, so again, we start off at the Croaker. I again don't know my left and right. We are in 6A, and here we go. I hope you enjoy this video, and please subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment for us, and I'll certainly be happy to answer them. All right, follow me. Hello everyone, Shane Stevenson, Curator and Director of Museum Collections, along with Jim Marzullo, all right, a caretaker of USS Croaker, and
morning,
Alan Jordan, all right, maintenance foreman. And here we have Senior Chief John Branning, and now he is in the water. There he is right there. Now we have had triumphant highs of being able to locate the hole here on USS Croaker. It's in 6B ballast tank. All right, starboard, just a little aft of midship, but it's not pumping out. So this is going to be kind of, hopefully we can create a temporary patch, and then we'll be able to pump the water out. So what this is telling us is that we're using that 80-pound pump that we got donated from a local company. Admar. Yes, Admar. And, yep, he went under. Yeah, look at that, he went under. Okay. And it's not really decreasing the amount of water in the ballast tank. So we think that there's as much water coming in as going out, and so that water level is staying the same. And so now what we need to do is we decided to try and locate the hole from the outside exclusively and put a temporary patch there just from the outside to allow us to pump it out, and then we'll get in there when it's a little drier, and then we'll be able to do a inside-outside patch like we would normally do to really secure that breach or that hole. So that's what this today is going to be, is helping John locate the hole. We're going to be shining an industrial light down from the hatch, and hopefully that water will, that light will travel through the water, and he will be able to see some ounce of light coming from the inside when he's down there.
Okay.
I don't know if that was the best way of explaining it, but
Close enough.
Close
That's
enough.
good. Get in the boat.
Okay, I'm being ordered to get into the boat.
Just getting in the boat.
Empty water.
And there is Senior Chief with a smile. All right, so we've had John doing a little preliminary search under the water. We have not put the light into the hatch yet, so it hopefully illuminates down where he might be able to see a hole. But he's just come back up from doing about a 5-6 minute search along this the search grid right here, where the ballast tank is, and he's got a preliminary report. And so I'm going to turn it over to him in the water and hear what he has to say.
Okay. For those of you who've seen the video of the USS Croaker in dry dock, it's basically the same submarine as this one. The sub has a stabilizer fin on both sides. It runs from the bow to the stern, which is way off the bottom. Here, the sub is literally sitting on the bottom currently at this moment, all the way up to where the stabilizer fin is the bottom. And so if the leak is underneath the curvature of the hull, unfortunately it's in the mud. Now, whenever we have a heavy weather event where the wind backs up the lake into the river, the sub will come up where it is floating, but currently she's sitting dead on the bottom. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, it's just the reality of it. When the sub was put to this position, along with the Little Rock, along with the Sullivans, they had to blast bedrock to make space for the sub and the other ships to come in here and for them to rest. There are big boulders on the bottom. Some of them as big as I am. On the other side, I know for sure. Down here, it's very murky and very, very hard to see. But through the years of the sub sitting here, what I'm afraid of is that some of the rocky bottom, as it rubs on the bottom, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, might have created a hole. Maybe a big hole, because the ballast intake ducts had been welded over underneath the sub. That's how the water comes in. That's how the sub dives. And as we saw on the cod, all of those plates have been welded over. But even on her, some of those had been worn through. And what I'm very much afraid of with this one is it's the same thing. And if that's the case, there's not much we can do about it.
Right now.
Right now, with her in this location.
Hey John, have you known, did you know that the Croaker was potentially sitting on the bottom?
At times, well, the Sullivans doesn't, but at times I know that this one was. And also the Little Rock, because Little Rock's 30 feet deep. So she actually sits in a trough, and I'm sure that this is in the same way. Water's relatively clear today, but generally it's very, very murky, and you can only see what you can see. And so it's a lot of just by hand. But it's fairly clear right now with my light. I went to the bottom, and it's where I put my feet on the ground is right around 8.5 feet. Because I just checked on my depth gauge. So.
Yeah, and those stabilizer fins, they're not much below the water line or the splash line,
they're
right?
8.5 feet from the surface?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Wow.
They really are.
Yeah.
And
so I wonder if they're going to have
the hole
any,
just goes right underneath the circle.
I wonder if they're going to have any luck trying to move the sub.
Oh. Therein lies another issue.
Yeah.
That's the one.
All right, well that's something that we can, because we're getting the work started on USS the Sullivans, they were planning on moving Croaker about 15 feet forward just so they can get their barge in, and now that's something we're going to have to report to the president and CEO and the board. and the company that's doing the work for USS the Sullivans. All right, we're going to get this light in here, see if that can illuminate things for John, but from what he says, we might not have much success in finding and locating this hole today.
And the other thing,
yes, sir,
that is very prevalent is very big, what I would call them rusticles, that are, some of them are bigger than a baseball, where the marine growth, zebra mussels and everything else, has been attacking the hull and has created bulges. And I'll video that with the GoPro.
all right. Oh, perfect. All right, so we're gonna get John a GoPro, and he's gonna put it on his little cranium there, and we're gonna hopefully add that GoPro video to this video, and you, our loyal subscribers and watchers and viewers, will be able to see what John sees. We'll be back in a little bit.
Stacked. You can whisper behind my back. You can show me how the odds are up against me all day long. But I've been through the fire and come out alive, and there's no more fear in my eyes. Oh, now I'm rising, and you can bring me down.
All right, so that's the update from John Branning, our certified diver, about the Croaker, and that ain't good news. Okay, so to summarize, she's sitting in the riverbed, and we believe that the hole is underneath the riverbed. So that's a lot of silt. That might be some dredging that we might need to do. So it's not good. All right, and for the work to start on the Sullivans, we need to move Croaker about 15 feet forward, and we might not be able to do that. So we're gonna get together with, our president, Paul Marzullo, and to talk about the next steps here for the Croaker. In the meantime, we are back in that famous anchor windlass that you saw in the video. I believe it was Bilge Snipes Part 4. All right, we lowered the 80-pound pump, and now with John in the water, he is going to do a temporary patch, temporary seal with some canvas and industrial heavy-duty magnet, boom, right on top of the hole. And this was the one I tried to patch with the JB Weld 2-part epoxy. Forget it. So I'm going to start heading down, right down to the keel, and but I need to get a little lighting first. And then you'll come along and you'll see it will stem the flow of the water until work starts on the Sullivans, which should be next week. All right, that's the update for now. You'll meet me down below, about 3 decks below where I am at right now.
All day long, but I've been through the fire and come out alive, and there's no more fear in my eyes. Oh, now I'm rising, and you can't bring me down. You can't stop me now. For destiny, I'll take the long way proud. Oh, I know what I've earned, and now it's my turn, lighting the fuse, let it burn. My time is rising, but you can't bring me down. Can't stop me now. You can't stop me now. And my feet have come too far for you to tie them to the ground. Can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. Side by side. I'm going, I ain't turning back around. Can't stop me. You know what's coming, so be warned. You can't stop